You cannot just go out and buy learning. Learning demands that you be an active, committed learner. What is plagiarism and why is it wrong? It's taking someone else's ideas or work and passing them as your own without giving proper credit. Just like stealing someone's car is wrong, so is stealing someone else's ideas. Let's take a moment to discuss the difference between blatant and accidental plagiarism. Blatant plagiarism is the kind where the student intends to deceive his or her readers. Some examples of blatant plagiarism include having someone write your paper for you, buying paper on the internet, and reusing a paper from a previous class. Now let's talk about accidental plagiarism, which is probably more common and happens mostly due to the writer's sloppiness. Some examples include not giving citations, poor paraphrasing, or making up a citation. These are not excuses, it's still plagiarism. Lycoming College subscribes to an academic honesty service called turnitin.com. You may be required to turn your paper directly into Turnitin, or your professor may run it through without your knowledge. This program provides your professor with an originality report after comparing your paper to millions of articles, websites, and student papers previously submitted to Turnitin. The consequences of plagiarism include that you can lose trust and credibility, you can feel embarrassed, you could fail the assignment or the class, you could be reported to the provost, you can also be expelled from school. You can find Lycoming College's academic dishonesty policy at the following URL. So how do you avoid plagiarism? Organization, quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing effectively, documentation, and citation. Let's talk about each of these. Organization. Create a source card for each resource you use. Be sure to include a call number for all books. Include all of the information needed for a citation, but don't worry about format yet. Give each source card a letter. You can write it on each note card from that source instead of writing the full citation each time. Create a note card for each piece of information you might use in your paper. Subtopic titles will help you organize the cards later. Know if your citation style requires page numbers for everything or just for quotations. Don't forget to put a letter in the corner of each note card so that you know which resource this information came from. Note cards can then be arranged to help you organize your paper. Each subtopic will come from several note cards. Okay, but let's be real. Note cards are the ideal way to take notes, but few people are willing to take the time to make them. Here's an example of how to take notes on a sheet of notebook paper. Use one piece of notebook paper for each source. If you need more than one, make a notation in the upper margin that it's the second sheet of notebook paper. Be sure to include the complete and accurate citation information in the header. Again, don't worry about format yet. If your format requires page numbers for everything, you can write this information in the margin. Don't forget to write down the complete citation information on all printouts as well, so you don't forget where you got them. Taking time to organize now will save you time and headaches later. Notice that I used extra big quotation marks to make it clear in my notes which parts were quotes and which parts were already paraphrased. Writing. There are 3 ways to use other people's information: quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing. Quoting. Quotes need to be justifiable and support the argument you create in your own words. 70% of your paper cannot be quotations. Quotes must be copied exactly from the original source. If you shorten a quote, indicate to the reader that it is shortened. Quotes must be enclosed in quotation marks, and they must be properly cited. Paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is a way to use other people's information and ideas in your own words. Only changing a few words from a quote is not paraphrasing, it's plagiarism. All paraphrases must be properly cited. Summarizing. Summarizing is a way to condense a lot of background information into a few words, usually bringing out the main ideas. It must still be properly cited as it's still somebody else's work. Here are a few extra writing tips. Consider using the author's name within the body of your text. such as John Anderson feels that check your writing against the original for similarities in sentence structure and vocabulary. Put quotation marks around important phrases you don't want to change, such as savage inequalities in our education system. Citing. Review the requirements of the citation style you will be using before starting your research. The basics of citation styles used at Lycoming can be found on the library's website under Citation Station Online. The full citation style guides can be found or near the Research Help Desk, Circulation Desk, and on the third floor at the Writing Center. Here's a chart that gives you some information on what needs to be cited and what does not need to be cited. So under the column of Need Citation includes anything that does not come directly from your own ideas. This includes what other people have written, said, drawn, or implied. What does not need citation includes your own ideas, analyses, and experiences, common sense conclusions, and common knowledge. So what is common knowledge? Wikipedia defines common knowledge as knowledge that is known by everyone or nearly everyone, usually within reference to the community in which the term is used. Common knowledge can include dates of historical events even if you have to look them up, and it can also include folklore and urban legends. However, if you're in doubt of whether something should be cited or not, play it safe and add the citation. If you have questions about plagiarism or citation, there are several people who are willing to help you, including librarians, your professor, and Writing Center tutors.